Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're watching me on True Divine 44. This is where I put out the daily videos to help support, guide and inspire those who want to be and need to be supported, guided and inspired. Take what resonates as it is general and leave what does not. I combine the energies of the day, being energy worker, energy bender, feel out those energies and combine those with the tarot that I do, and give you a narrative to help you recognize the energies around you, within you, and within others. So leave a comment. I appreciate all the comments, as you all well know. And thank you to subscribers coming over, new subscribers. It's been a long, hard slog, but the numbers are going up slowly but surely. And I appreciate you all doing that. I really do, more than you probably know. So this is for the 18th of March 2021. There's a lot of different storylines coming through today. There's a lot of different directions that people can go in with the same energies. And so I'm going to maybe jump about a little bit. We'll see how it flows. So bear with me. Again, take what resonates with you and ditch what does not. There's no offense taken for it not resonating fully. Some of it might resonate with you, some of it might not. It might all resonate with you, it might all not. Take it as you will. So we've got on the bottom of the deck, we've got the 10 of Pentacles again. This is a message that keeps coming up, and it's speaking about the birthright that you have, but you have to claim that birthright. The fact that you come into this experience and you can have the right and the abilities to make of it what you will. And the original birthright, I feel, that we're all trying to get back to is that this realm that we're in, this physical realm that we're in, is abundant. You look around, you see the berries, they come, they never fail. You know, you see the weather patterns, you know, that feed the ground. You see the cycle of it all working together to create abundance, to create sustainability, and to create something that you can enjoy and relish in. The beauty of this realm is astounding. You know, I remote view, I travel in the astral planes, and some of the different realms that I've come across, some of the different experiences that I've come across are, you know, in some parts very, very beautiful. In other parts, nowhere near the beauty and abundance that this realm has to offer. And I feel that the original birthright of this is that this realm is giving, it's nurturing, it's compassionate. Yes, it's of duality, but the extreme that we find ourselves, the extreme duality that we find ourselves in today, has been what I speak about very often, a result, a long, long result of a hijack of this realm, a closing off of this realm by certain beings. And then through knowing about us, maybe more advanced than us, through being able to know how to work us, what our innate wants and needs as humans would be, what our innate ways of being able to be controlled via the elements that we hold, the passions, the fire, the waters, the emotions, and indeed the air, all of which have been attacked, all of which have been controlled, manipulated. But then you have this point where you look at it and you see, but there's curveballs, and we are the curveballs, and we do have so much more of a capacity and so much more of a power within us that has been so downplayed and so manipulated that the bird cages literally on top of our heads in the amnesia of the different elements that we can pull upon and the control we can have within them in use of them. And I feel that enough of us keep coming here, not all by any means. I'm not on that train of we're all here to do something, we're all here to ascend. I feel this hijack has gone on so many generations that there are many non-player characters, and there are many characters that are here for different reasons other than to work through, you know, their experience, or indeed to come here to help liberate as well as enjoy this experience and grow from it, help liberate others to have a more liberating experience here. We need to remember this. We need to get back to that. We need to be forceful with it. We need to be powerful with it in order to switch around this hijack. You know, there's so much going on right now that is taking away the birthright of those, and the extreme of the duality that I speak about is that there is extreme abundance and love and nurturing and compassion here, but still not to the point where we could be. But the extreme of abuses and darkness that is here is to the extreme above and beyond. And this is where I feel it's totally out of balance. This is where I feel it's totally out of calibration. It needs to be recalibrated. It needs to be changed up. And we do have this source of power within us. We do see people working with elements. I work with elements. I help people work with their elements. And you see the power that comes over them when they feel that charge of being in charge of their element, of their vehicle, of their physical vehicle in the body, of their spiritual vehicle, their emotional vehicle, their passionate vehicle, their thought vehicle. And it really does behoove us to take note and really start to meet force with force and beyond. And it isn't going to be just love and light. It's gone too far for that. And in this dualistic realm, as far as we've gotten, it is going to take us to really stand together, really make a noise, regardless of the manipulated, indoctrinated divides that we have, or a race, you know, the belief systems that we have that have been man-made, you know, because they've taken certain ancient truths and mixed them to their own agenda. That is, you know, you could patent that. They have patented that. They've labeled it in all of these different religions because they've changed it enough. They've changed the narrative of it enough that it is their creation. And they've used that to get to where they are now, where we are seeing the transition from a religion to now triggered globalist elite trigger button religion of where they manipulate certain divisions and people ignite without thinking. And so this is where we see a lot of today, much more of the realization. The information's already out there, but the realization in many people's minds that their land is threatened, their land is compromised, and worse still, it's compromised from the very people that they pay to do a job to protect that land, to protect their rights in that land. And people are getting hurt in the playing out of that narrative, and they're deliberately doing this. And it feels like there's a real build-up effect here of when this realization hits enough people of just how much damage they would have done, just how much darkness they would have allowed to happen. In particular, I can't ignore it, it's that US border situation. It was playing heavily on my mind even when T was in control. I saw that was not in control, but you know, I saw that was going to be a problem, knowing that the B was going to get in, and saying to people, go to the border. And it seems so strange to people now to not just allow just the police officers to do their job, to not just allow the authorities to do their job. Those systems, although there are some very good people within those systems themselves are systemically broken because they are towards the people, and towards protecting the people, because they are systemically controlled and built by the people who are causing all of this oppression, manipulation, and abuse, division. And so you see that the very time that even a lot of the officers and authorities are shouting, this is not right, this is not right, they're not being listened to. And you see how incapacitated they are. They haven't got the full capacities to do what you, the people, think they are there to do. And we need to remember ancestors. We need to remember what, the pirates did. We need to remember the true history, not the manipulated history of these certain peoples in our ancestral lines who challenged authorities and would not have just sat back waiting for the authorities to get the go-ahead to actually do the job that you're told they're there to do and that you pay for them to be doing. And so this is where we find ourselves in this unbelievable situation, because we realize how indoctrinated we've become, that we only feel we're allowed to protect ourselves, to look out for the rights of others, look out for the rights of children, if the authorities say we are to do so, even when in the face of everything, the authorities have got their hands handcuffed behind their own backs, because the system that built them is not giving them the go-ahead. The person that's now in charge of that system is not giving them the go-ahead. Conversely, we see that in the UK regarding the opposite, and it swings in the pendulums. This narrative is swaying, they've got it all played out. Yes, they're making mistakes, and this is where we have to realize that these people aren't gods. These people are not gods of us. These people, or these beings, are pretending to be and wanting to be gods, and they are not. And so we see Boris over here, absolutely stoking the fire and igniting the fire, and giving the police too much capacity to do a role that really they shouldn't be getting paid to do, because again, in a very different way right now, they're not actually protecting the people. They say they're protecting the people, again, because of COVID, but they're not. And that is being ignited and highlighted through the very devastating loss of a young lady, Sarah Everard. I can't pronounce her surname, sorry, but Sarah. So we see that this is where we are asking ourselves to take back our lands, to realize that this isn't just how it has to be. In fact, it wasn't just how it had to be. Before, there'd been too many generations of these people being given these powers that they've got now. There were people who would have enough and see where the problem was and act upon the problem. and it seems so out there now because we can only do things if the government says so. But around the world right now, we need this igniting of the flames to stand together, and say how ridiculous this all is right now, how contradictory this all is. It's right up in our face, laughing at us. And so as harsh as that sounds, as whatever buttons I've pressed there, ask yourself, why am I pressing those buttons? Why, if you're feeling ignited in a negative way towards me or what I'm saying, then why are you doing that? What kind of indoctrination is there? How much more do these people have to do to contradict themselves, to make fools of the people, and actually put the children and others at risk through this? So that's the first card on the bottom of the deck. Now, the second card on the bottom of the deck is the Six of Swords, and this is where turbulent waters, and this a little bit like the Temperance card, the major arcana that would represent Aquarius, is a bit of a curveball in itself, because it's about wisdom, it's about air, it's about thoughts, it's about intellect, it's about mental capacity, mental growth. But it involves waters a lot. So it's what the emotions are very turbulent coming into the Six of Swords. The lead up into the Six of Swords, there's turbulence in the emotions and the waters. There's been a turbulent energy that is upset into the emotions, that shakes things up in the emotional field. And through this, using this card in the upright and in the energies that are most positive, would be that through this turbulence, through this heartache, through this shake up of the emotions, comes huge mental growth, because you work your way through that using your mental capacity, your wisdom, your intellect, to examine why you are feeling turbulent, and it takes you over into calmer waters, new horizons. It does speak a lot about land crossing too. It speaks about moving towards new horizons. And so with the Ten of Pentacles there also, that sort of bolsters this idea of thinking in a different way regarding this physical reality and the horizons that we need to be reaching for. That what's been happening for a long time, generations now, is not good enough, and where we are at now is not good enough. Good enough is not good enough. And so by doing this dance with your emotions and your mental aspect of self, you can create huge amounts of growth. You can calm those waters, because once you've thought your way through them, once you've questioned your emotional body, you can then transmute that energy that was turbulent into flowing waters that are in flow, that aren't fluctuating, that aren't up here and down here and up here and down here. A lot of you might have been feeling that way. That is very deliberate also as to what's being put out via the collective stage. They are deliberately doing this narcissistic gestational spell to have people on this roller coaster where they never know the minute of what they're going to be facing next or what they're going to be feeling next, to impregnate people's emotions into these trigger points of fear, anger, sadness, depression, suicide. And so this is where we see that there is a huge gift within all of this for us in this lifetime, and wherever we go after, whatever, depending on who we are, where we go to next, whatever levels we attain in this lifetime, the growth that we can and the energies that we can learn to transmute, even in the most turbulent waters, creates an opportunity for new realities, new abundance, new sustainabilities, new ways of being. So it's powerful, but it needs to be worked through. Underneath this card on the bottom of the deck, I just want to point it out because it keeps coming up, it keeps popping up at me, even in personal readings, and it's this Two of Cups. There's a lot of us need to get back to what we know we are driven to do, and the balance within ourselves, in our divinities. But also it does speak to a lot about relationships. There's a lot of turbulence in many people's relationships still. And there's this reluctance to look for the different, to not just have good enough, but to want that balance and that wholeness within self and within the partner that they're with. And so there's this real, you know, what are you doing kind of energy at this point, you know, because the turbulent waters aren't going to be in flow and aren't going to get calm, or they might be for a short time and then bang, you're back into turbulence again when jealousy crops up, whatever else it might be that resonates with you. So if that's for you, really look at that, because the release that you'll feel once you make the decisions that you know you've been putting off making will be huge, absolutely huge. So the first card is the Fool card. So Major Arcana, they've got a couple here. So this is the first Major Arcana. This is the 0 point. And this energy is the energy that it keeps coming up again, is it's not afraid of the turbulent waters. You can see the turbulent waters behind, and obviously this cliff edge. But this carefree energy, the chin up high, you know, reaching for the highest height, expecting the best. You can see he's walking towards this cliff edge. Yes, knowing that there may be difficulties ahead, treacherous ground ahead, but still not being afraid of that. Instead, reaching and expecting the most, reaching and expecting the highest of heights. So in that energy, even when you come across difficult times, treacherous ground, you're gonna transmute it a lot quicker. You're going to get through it a lot easier than somebody who has hunched over, looking at the ground, expecting to fail, expecting to be hurt, expecting to be judged. So this is the energy that is what's needed right now to bolster that bravery, to expect more, to take action where action is needed in our individual lives and towards the collective stage as to what's going on right now. There's a purity here. You see the white rose in his hand. That's the symbol of there's a pure heart here. There's a pure energy here of not wanting to harm others, but to be fully submerged and embraced by this experience within this realm. Even the sun is white. There's a real purity to the energy that is underlying a lot of you that are listening to this today, and that's beautiful. But hold your head up high. Speak these powerful, positive words, these birthright words into your life, into your very being. Embrace it, you know, and keep that head held high. Some of you feel embarrassed for some reason. I don't know, you know, whether you feel you've been caught out on something or judged by something. And actually a lot of the problem here is that you're accepting that judgment, that you're accepting that for yourself. To ride this energy out, and it's not always the easiest, I know, but you know, it's to ride this energy out with your head held high, whatever this is for you. Will absolutely 0 point in and transmute that energy. What you're doing at 0 point energy is that it is focusing, it's getting rid of all of the energy that isn't really yours to have, that isn't really yours to carry, and 0 point in or focused energy on looking ahead, or whatever you're looking into. If you're looking within and managing to create this ball of energy, this 0 point. At this point, if I was doing energy work with you and you can get to that point of 0 point, you can then focus that. Say you were wanting to heal a physical aspect within your body, that then is a force to be reckoned with. building up that energy into that 0 point ball and being able to propel it as one forceful energy, all of your elements behind it, all of your elements combined behind it. And this is a lot of what we need to do in our individual lives, however it resonates with you, but also towards the collective stage. We need to drop all of this excess energy, all of these excess manipulated, corrupted divisions, and think about what is the level here. The level is that we're not guinea pigs. The level is that no matter what children are being harmed, they are our children. They are our children. We are guardians of their experience here until they come into adulthood, regardless of what race they belong to. They are children. All of the excess labels and whatever else, whoever their family is, that's dropped. And so as a collective, this is where we need to get to, also this 0 point of where all of this excess division, and if we could get to that point, we would realize just how false they are to a lot of us. Yes, there are going to be some people that just will never get there. They want to be divided. Some of them I don't feel are what we would call the human. And so this is where we see, but even then, the more people that are get into this drop-in of the excess energetic weight, of the excess energetic division, then we can actually see who these people are. Then we can actually see who really holds this kind of hate, who really, and then it's easier to deal with that part of it. But for now, get into this point as a collective in as many as possible of dropping this excess division, this excess pettiness, because there are such serious ground level things happening right now that we need to 0 point in on. That this would be powerful. This would be a game changer for sure, at least for the next few generations to come. And so this is where we see the Ace of Pentacles coming in to clarify this Fool card. And this is the promise of new, the promise of abundance. If we can do this energy, the Fool card, read just as, oh, the Fool, you've got a good experience coming ahead. It's very simplistic, but like all of the cards, they have such deep layers when you need to dig into them. And this 0 point is so powerful in that if you can get to this point, your mind is creating your reality, your thoughts, and then your words, and then your deeds. So the fact that you're walking into this experience with your head held high, there's no division here, there's pure of heart, there's a purity here, and managing to focus that energy in on that, then we see the promise of this abundance. It's just attracted in. We are creating this reality, which is why they're working so damn hard to impregnate us, to manipulate us into fear, into division, fear of our fellow man and woman and child, because they know the power of this. They know the power of this kind of energy work. And if enough people would remember it, they know that this would not play out. This would be yet another failed attempt to take these stages that they've tried, and they've kept, getting better and better at it. And so we're dealing with, them having a lot of practice and having built up a lot of power, yes, but it's nothing compared to the collective force of a 0 point energy with these ground rules. No to hurting the children, no to causing false divide, no to stopping people. Everybody should be eating, everybody should be able to drink. There is actually more than enough if we're not dealing with greed and power and ego of these people that are having the privilege of being paid to do the worst abuses to the collective. And so we see the 5 of Cups coming up as the next card. This is where we're focusing in on things that they want us to be focusing in on as far as the collective stage. We're still concentrating on this card that keeps coming up, still concentrated on what they are directing us to concentrate on, the losses that they are manipulating to happen, the losses of the business, the losses of the family units, the losses of the friendships, all of these things, the losses of loved ones. In particular, loved ones, you know, in terrible circumstances where they didn't have their loved ones by their side as they were passing over. But this is where we've got to be brave enough to look up beyond these 3 of Cups that are spilt over and get back to that 2 of Cups that keeps coming up, like I mentioned earlier, of this balance of the divinities within. The divine feminine, the divine masculine, and being able to take off this dark cloak of mourning, of despair, and release ourselves into our power. We've got here the Magician. Now, for some of you in your individual lives, there's somebody around you that's manipulating energies, manipulating your responses to the elements, to hold you in this space of the 3 of Cups, to hold you in this space of loss. If I was reading for you privately, I would be saying, get out of this situation. It's not going to get better. It's going to hold you in this space and hold you back from your abundance, your alignment with your physical reality. It's going to hold you back from your growth. Fair enough, turbulent waters, upset, and a little bit of chaos actually creates the 6 of Swords in many ways, when dealt with properly, when transmuted properly. But to actively not make the decisions that need to be made in your individual life and staying in this energy, you know, even if it's this up and down roller coaster, is then detrimental to any kind of growth and any kind of balance. As far as for others of you and for the people I've just been speaking to that resonated with that first point, is that you are the Magician. We go from the Fool to the Magician here, the 0 to the 1. And so the Fool has here his little satchel. The Magician is an experiencer that continues to build up the tools on the table to be able to work with and create from each element of self, to be able to manipulate the energies of self with absolute precision when we are not focused in on this sadness, when we're not locked into this fear of loss. And so this is where you have all of the tools on the table to be able to manifest, to be able to create. And yes, there is a lot of doom and gloom. And yes, there is a lot of evidence to say that the beings behind these puppets that we're paying to be in control are very powerful, are very much more advanced. But there are certain reasons why, to a great extent, we're not all, yes, we're chained up in a massive way through the collective, through the mind. But there's a reason actually that there are many of us that haven't got balls and chains on, and we're not seeing people on the street with balls and chains around their ankles, slaving away. There is much more power within us, and there is much more magic to be used and created from a balanced place, a powerful place within us that they know about, and that they have to be really careful of, that they have to tread real lightly, but at the same time be real forceful about the cages that they put around our heads. And so take this into account. Practice with your elements, practice with your magic elemental work, creating through the experiences, the lessons learned, and the tools that you have on the table. But you cannot do this when you're in this position of loss, because then you're just going to magic in more of this energy. You're going to allow more of this energy to come in via the emotions in particular. The next card we've got is the Nine of Swords. And so some of you are really losing sleep. Some of you are having the most terrible nightmares that are staying with you the next day. There's this stressed out energy where your body isn't switching off, your mind isn't switching off, your emotions aren't switching off. Again, there's this locked in position. And although a lot of you are going to want, who are in this energy, are going to want to throw something at the screen right now, please don't. You'll only harm your own screen. I won't feel it. You have so much more power in this situation than you think. Because for those of you that have people close to you or a person around you close to you, that should be like your best friend, your comrade in arms kind of thing. For those around you, that they are working so hard to keep you in this space, and in a very sneaky way, in a very magician-like way, magician in a not so nice way. And they were having to work so hard because it's actually their fears that drive them to do this. Their fears of loss, their fears of not having a whipping boy or a whipping girl emotionally. And so there's a lot of what you are manifesting in these nightmares, in these anxieties, in these sleepless nights, or indeed sleeping but feeling so tired when you wake up that you haven't rested. There's a lot of their fears that are driving this. If you would release yourself from this, you actually give them a fighting chance to release themselves from this. It's not great karma what is happening here. It's a cycle that's happening here that keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. For others of you, there's this energy of you are having dreams and you are having visions that are not wrong either. And this is where there's many different angles and storylines today. Again, it's a collective reading, so it's general and take what resonates with you. But a lot of you are coming into a lot of knowings, and it feels like a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, because where there was still maybe some remnant of the savior complex or the story, biblical storyline of don't worry, all of this will happen, but it'll all be okay. There is this realization of that no, people and enough people for this realm as the collective need to take the power back, and that can be a disturbing thing. Again, work really hard to transmute this, because you need to come into these knowings to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's a balancing it's a balancing game, in that you don't want to tip yourself over into fear and anxiety, to then be attracting more of that into your individual life, to then be emitting the frequency of feeling trapped, feeling anxious, being in fear. A lot of breathing techniques would help before sleep. Not having things in the background, news and whatnot, would help sleep a lot. Doing rituals that wind you down, and being very intentful with your mind before you sleep, taking authority over what you are willing to experience during your sleep pattern, during your venture into the sleep realm. Being very forceful and authoritative about what you want to experience. Yes, if you want to give some nights to visions and things like that, do so. But at the same time, make sure you're having more nights where you are saying, no, my body is going to rest. Therefore, I need restful sleep realm state. tonight is not the night for this kind of vision or this kind of vision. Tonight is the night for, you know, and actually go with this rather than saying, I don't want this, I don't want that, because then you're verbalizing that, but say it in a way of, I wish to go and see the color spectrum of the rainbow in the cosmos. I wish to go and see the whales swimming in the cosmos, the reflection of the beams of the whales down here, or in here, in this realm. So be very intentful with that, because you need to be rested. Truly, you do. It feels like a nightmare situation for a lot of you, though, in your physical life that is creating this sleepless state, this anxious state. It's disturbing your spirit. You can see the narrative here that even on the bed here, that it's beautifully carved, but it is a scene of a hunt, of you know, somebody falling on their sword, somebody being hurt. And so a lot of this actually is coming from the fact that you're avoiding this pain, and by paddling this water, staying in the same situation that this Five of Cups is bringing, you're actually limiting yourself so much to stay in this fight or flight mode constantly, which is exhausting to every aspect of self, in particular the physical aspect. Working so hard, the body having to work so hard that by the time there's, you know, you get that overworked feeling, and you just can't wind down, even though you know you're exhausted. Every part of you feels exhausted, but you just can't switch off. This is where you're in this cycle of this, because you're not wanting to make decisions in your physical reality. So when everything is quiet, when everything is winding down, your brain is being extra loud, because your mental self, your wisdom, is telling you you need to be doing something else in taking your authority back within your life. The Three of Swords comes up to clarify this Nine of Swords. And I'm sorry, I do feel the people who resonate with this. A lot of you, hopefully, and I feel, don't resonate with this fully, and that's good. But as empaths, a lot of you are looking out on the collective stage, looking at those close to you. Some of you, your adult children, and seeing this cycle. And it is so difficult. You can give them that guidance, you can give them that input, but you can't lift that veil. And you know how once that veil is lifted, it's that kind of energy where you think, oh, and you enter into the Six of Swords and this Ten of Pentacles, into the reality, into this Fool card energy of feeling so light. And you think, that's all I needed to do. I needed to be brave enough to turn around and look at my damn self and see the truth, see the power, see the possibilities, see what I could line up with my own elemental magic. This Ace of Pentacles here. But a lot of you are witnessing this and watching this, and so and don't underestimate your power as a magician to send energy into this family member, into this friend, into the collective, to infuse this veil being lifted and this calm waters and calm horizons being reached with that Six of Swords. The Three of Swords is so painful. It's that heartache where the literally your mental, it's swords again, is you know, you have those breakups where it literally feels like, you know, the two soulmates are being ripped apart, and it feels like somebody's reaching into your chest. Why? Because your mental aspect of self is feeding to your heart chakra, feeding those firings of electrical impulses, literally. So you feel the physical pain of what is an emotional thing, and a mental thing. You know, a lot of you this revolves around what should look like love, what should be love, but is actually a cycle of control, of a lot of inner work needing to be done on different levels for different people. And you feel that energy of somebody's ripping something out of your chest, and I can feel a lot of it as I'm reading, and so I do appreciate this and how it feels. Being through it, it's difficult, but the avoidance of this, that is ultimately going to come anyway, one way or the other, because this kind of thing cannot continue endlessly, is that the avoidance of this is actually worse than ripping off the plaster kind of thing. That actually now it feels like a lot of you are witnessing loved ones or yourself have actually been going through this pain while everything looks perfect on the outside and you're paddling like crazy under the water. A lot of you have been sort of on the knife edge, on the cliff edge of this pain for so long that you don't know any different. You've become accustomed to it. But that does not mean your spiritual self, your physical self, emotional self, mental self is actually good with it, is actually happy with it. It's taken a toll, it's draining. And so you've actually put yourself, what would have been, maybe a few months worth of heartbreak and recovery, you've put yourself through this sort of elongated spell of pain and heartache and sleepless nights. So it feels like this bubbling up of it coming to a point. As far as the collective stage goes, it does feel like we're coming to another bubbling point of a nightmare situation. I keep feeling a shoot-in. I keep seeing a shoot-in. And binding it up as soon as I've feeling it and seeing it, but feeling that this is narrated where real people get harmed. I feel like, and I've been putting off saying it, but I feel like on US soil, it feels like it's going to be, and simultaneously maybe on UK soil, where an officer is going to be hurt. Very much so. And this is just going to be, it feels like, because people haven't been dealing with and seeing what has been happening, this bubbling point, this another point in time of the narrative that they're playing out, where instead of people zero pointing energy and focusing that energy in and taking action as it should be taken, this explosive action takes place or reaction takes place. And it hurts a lot of people. It hurts a lot of people. And so it's for us all to look at this and see where it resonates with us, and do this work. For those who have people close to them and you're seeing this, be honest with the person, give it a go. Better than you be scoffed and told you're crazy, but knowing that you gave it a go, to bring it to light that you were witnessing this, that they're not, because that they're feeling this. So for you to witness it, even if they do scoff and walk away in a big huff about it, at least you give them that point of thinking on this, of looking at it and seeing that somebody else is seeing what I'm feeling. I thought I was hiding it really well. You might just be the tipping point for that person to start unraveling this and starting to feel brave enough to deal with this and make the decisions that need to be made. It feels like there's a lot coming and there's a lot being happening behind the scenes, but as far as in this 3D, it feels like we're coming to a point where, as people who are conscious of what's happening, as people who are open to seeing the truth of what's happening. I feel like we're going to be witnessing, maybe starting today, it's been rolling like thunder, like rolling thunder, where we witness, as people who've had the veil lifted or came with the veil lifted, where we witness many in the collective who are not conscious of what's happening, witness something that makes them explode. And this is really difficult because there's so many people out there that are doing something like I'm doing something like you guys are doing. And it's hard to witness in that we've come so far down the road, so many generations down, that you realize that we're going to be witnessing these points. You don't know what other words to use or say or try and portray to wake enough people up that it doesn't have to get to this point. And so whether that point is today, I'm binding it up as much as I can. Whether that point is today or this is the continued volcano build-up of pressure before the eruption, we'll see. What we can do is deal with this in our own lives, however which way this resonates. What we can do is reach out to those who we are witnessing that are close to us, that we are witnessing going through these energies in the latter part of this reading, and maybe avoiding even more pain by them being reactionary to being exhausted and drained, because they're dealing with this rolling thunder energy of building up this electrified point, or this volcanic rumbling energy of where it gets to that point where it erupts, and instead of it just erupting and then being able to be transmuted, actions are taken, reactions are made, and things get more serious. Consequences of those reactions get more serious. So what we can do and what we do have control of today is doing those things. The more that we do that, the more that we unpick this narrative, the more that we stop this narrative that they're trying desperately to roll out, being quite so of them achieving it quite so well. As far as the border, this Three of Swords and this Nine of Swords has a lot to do with the people living close to that border, alongside that border in the US. What they are going through, the fear that's in them already, and that it seems like it's going to be put into them through certain things that are going to take place, that are taking place, and that are going to take place, is terrible. I feel so deeply for the children involved in this, that they're being used so much. And I do still very much feel that vision that I had of this being a big guise, a big distraction, although it's a worthy distraction, but a distraction nonetheless, to bring certain, not just numbers, not just voting numbers, because they're thinking way ahead of that, but, you know, certain people across the border under the guise of all of these mass people, to have in place on US soil, to wreak havoc, to create havoc. A lot of this being the first part of what has been a rolling plan is to take the guns, to make the excuse to then take the protection of the people away. And I feel that there's going to have to come a point in America where enough officers, enough authorities, enough people collectively just say no. No. Because that would not be a good thing. As far as how far in this duality we've gone, that would not be a good thing at all. So heavy day, heavy reading for sure. Again, there's always, and I hope I portrayed it well enough, I'm feeling the energies very heavily right now. I hope I portrayed it well enough, actually, and I can't even think when I go into readings, I flow, I just speak it out, and so I hope I portrayed it well enough where the gifts are of today for you, and that you can gain something out of this by taking your authority, finding your growth, finding your new emotional and mental horizon. And in doing so, you create your physical horizon, all being mind in this realm. Being brave, having your head held high, having that purity of heart and that authority at the same time, having that high expectation. My granny used to say, head up, Jenny, shoulders back, because I do slouch. Even though I'm a dancer, I do slouch. Head up, chin up, shoulders back. Can hear it actually. So yeah, I hope I've given you what you need to recognize that truly you are the magician. Truly you can claim your right to the reality that you want to create here and leave behind for the generations thereafter you. Because it is a heavy day. It does feel like a heavy day. It does feel like the next stage, another flag point of the plans and the narratives. What I can say is that at least some officials, but they're not high up enough, but at least some officials are recognizing what's happening here and starting to question what is happening here, and starting to ask themselves what that would mean for their family later down the line as to what is happening here. That's another positive of today. Unfortunately, I don't feel that for the UK. Not yet. There are some, but not to any great level and not to any great amount of strength today regarding the energies of today. But I do feel that for the US. And that's not to be fooled by these officials just, pretending to give one side and the other side, to create this distractionary story. But there are some officials that can be reached out to today. So do this in the UK, Australia, Germany too. Germany is another one that keeps coming up. There are actually officials, authorities, medical directors, some politician in Germany actually is starting to raise their head above the pulpit and is of a genuine nature of saying, this needs to stop. Particularly regarding the jab in the arm. So that is a good thing. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm searching for good things, and I can find you many, but we do need to sit with these energies. We do need to please leave a comment, open up the dialogue. It helps everybody when we get different people's perspectives. And I guarantee you, I can wring this dry to find you the gifts of today. But we do, I feel, need to have a reality check and do need to look at the energies as they are, and see where we go from there individually and as a collective. And opening up the dialogue in the comments helps everybody that is there. We've got awesome people commenting with always on the money points. So yeah, I hope I've covered that. I feel really heavy today with this. I feel really, you know, I want to wring this out, you know, like a cloth, to give you all the positives that are there, and the huge amounts with the Six of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. But, you know, I just feel that more emphasis needs to be put on upon how we deal with this. And in particular, the lead up to this, the Five of Cups, that people seem to be sitting in, this energy that is leading to this, that is allowing for them to get away with, they're getting away with, either those people around us individually and those that are in power positions. So yeah, a bit of a funny one. I appreciate you all listening to me rabbit on, and I appreciate your comments. I look forward to them as always. Much love, stay balanced and stay whole. If you want a personal reading or any spiritual coaching or any energy work sessions, hit me up at truedivinemedia@gmail.com. Other than that, I'll see you all real soon. Mwah. Yikes.